Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the DJ room. I'm Afrojack. I'll be coaching you today, or while coaching. I want to start off very simple. We already went through the theory. Right now we're going to go practical. But before I'm going to start about all the practical abilities that you can use while doing a DJ set, not the basic, the more advanced techniques, the more interesting tricks, the way you can really grab your audience. First, I'm going to give you a super quick demo of how I usually DJ. But I'm not going to let records run. I'm actually just going to show you quick mixing tricks, quick effect tricks, quick CDJ tricks, etc., etc., etc. So let's start off real quick, give you a short demo.
You go ahead and start. At the count of three, I want everybody in the place to be to make some noise if you're down with me. 1, 2, 3.
Some quick tricks there in a row. So the most important thing I want to show you with this is 9 out of 10 times, even without using sync, I'm DJing without headphones. Not because I'm good, but because I had the experience of learning one of the most basic tricks of everything, and that is the simple fact that about almost all of the music, as you can see here. This is 128 BPM. This record is 125 BPM. 0.8% generally changes a record for 1 BPM. So if I do plus 0.8, it goes to 126. Another plus 0.8 goes to 127. Another goes to 128. But even if you don't know about that percentage, basically 0.8 being your building block for switching BPMs, you can see it. You can see the BPM. So the only thing you have to do when you're playing a record is make sure and then even like now I'm adjusting it on shift, but you can actually see here on the waveform that they're on top of each other. So it's next to it. It's lined up. I'm even sometimes that lazy that I don't use the headphones to figure out the cue and fix it perfectly. Sometimes the record's running. There it goes. So instead of even using the headphones, sometimes, like especially when you're in a big hall, people can't even hear that in the hall. It's such a tiny change. So if your monitors are loud enough, you can hear things that people can't. Of course, when you're doing a recording or a stream, everyone can hear everything. So you want to refrain from doing that. Then you're just going to put on your headphones and line it up in your headphones. And the other thing, of course, that you always have is if you put on sync, you can even completely mess up the moment when you press play because it will link it automatically. Another trick that you can use with this is instead of hearing when you're supposed to play or counting, if your grid is correct, if you loaded up Rekordbox and your Rekordbox adjusted the grid exactly according to the beats, you don't even have to listen to when it's going to start. You can just look. I'm going to press play right there. It's going to line up here. There it is. It's coming, and that's how simple it is. So all the technicalities of getting two records to line up perfectly, Rekordbox and Pioneer took all that away for you. Makes it super easy right now. You can just look at the segments. You can see the segments on top of each other. So the only thing you have to do, I'm going to show you again. I wait till the moment the first drop comes in. Or say you're further on in the record, you're like, I want to see when the drop is coming. When the drop comes, I will start my next record. And then it probably should line up. Here we go. Lines up perfectly. So lining up is just a matter of paying attention. Oh. Yeah, it only shows the master player on top. Actually, I hate it when the mixer is linked because sometimes I do this and then it switches master player because it tells from the fader. So I'm just gonna unplug the mixer there. So, very, very simple trick to get started. Very advanced trick, but this means that like, even if you don't have headphones, but you know your records a little bit, you can just tell by looking at the grid what lines up where. So you already know here this beat is going to drop when the other record has a break, because you can tell, how do I do it? Okay, yeah, it doesn't line up with the master, but you can see. So here's going to be the first drop of this record, and then this record is going to drop at that point. So that it wouldn't work like that. Second quick tip that I want to give you, very, very, very fun trick that can save a lot of lives. It saved my life many times. Say the record's almost finished and you have 20 seconds left and you just found the record that you want to play. So I'm gonna miss this cue moment. This is like the moment where you usually would start another record to be on time. So I'm gonna miss this, okay? Crap. Oh, okay, I found one. Okay, so I'm gonna go right now. Oh, sorry. Right now I'm gonna move this quickly to over here to line it up. So okay, that's gonna be my cue point. Again, you don't need headphones for this anymore. And now I want to line this point up with this point that I already missed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use beat jump. Beat jump is an amazing function that allows you to skip around the record. I'll let you hear it real quick. Exactly on time. So basically this can save your life because you can switch through a record without people noticing that you're actually scrolling through the record. Instead of getting this or getting this, you actually get this. So this is a lifesaver. So now imagine here, I missed this cue point. Okay, I'm gonna play the song. Yeah, I got it. I missed it. 1, 2, I missed 8 counts, so I'm gonna go forward, 8 counts. And look at that, it's lined up again. Super simple lifesaver. So very simple, just you have to count in your head how many counts you lost. Like, so this record's playing, I'm late, I don't have time. Afrojack, Bang Duck. Okay, I missed 32 counts, so I'm gonna go here. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Wait, I don't want the record to finish. Let me go back. Another trick you can do. You can go backwards. So when a record is finished, of course there's always the option to loop the final tail end. So you always have some background beat, so it doesn't sound like suddenly a piece of the beat is missing. So I use this a lot. But another thing you can do with this, so say you're at, I'm going to turn off beat sync because it kind of messes up going, like you cannot make errors on beat sync. So when you're trying to give a tutorial, it's easy to do it without. So we have this record running. I'm like, crap, I didn't find it. I don't want to have this. I don't want to have this going in a loop for 20 seconds. So what I can do now, I just went completely back to the drop by skipping 64 beats 2 times. But instead of waiting until the tail end, because then the record might stop, I just do it on the moment where the fill hits. So the last 4 counts, like where you get a 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Lifesavers. These are advanced techniques. I never knew about beat jump until about a year ago, and it was like, oh my god, this is so amazing. Because like beat loop, we know, like you can make a loop and make sure the record doesn't finish, but it's a static loop. There's no fill, there's no changes. You would have to do everything manual while finding your next record. Beat jump. A lot of times also what I do is like, okay, I'm playing a record and like the drop drops and it's a new record, I didn't try it yet. I'm like, ooh, this drop is a little bit too much low end. And I see the people on the dance floor, they're reacting like, oh my God, no, this record has too much bass. It's not good for us. We don't like it. We're just going to stand here and look at you like this. So I'm like, crap. So check. Yeah. Ooh, put your hands up.
Take a shot.
No? You don't like it? Okay, crap. Wait. Skip. Some effects.
Take a shot.
And I just skipped half of the drop by just moving forward. Same thing if you don't like a segment in a record, or like I said before, you're late with mixing in. Say we have Bang Duck going on this other side and we want to switch into this record. Let me reset the cue point. Wait, you can actually... No. Don't memorize. Go, yeah. Back. So... The record is essentially finished. I'm too late mixing it, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play catch up. So apparently when you lose your master, you just click it here. Super simple. So what I was going to tell you, when you have these two records and you want to skip forward to a drop, you can actually zoom out and see when it lines up. Say I want to have the two drops at the same time. At least the start of the two breaks at the same time. You can see here they're lined up. Almost with 8 counts. There you go. And then the break can line up as you see. But you see the break, the build up here is longer than this build up. So say you want to play two records at the same time. And see how they sound together. I'm going to move this forward to line up the drop with this drop. 1, 2, there it is, perfect. Add some reverb. So beat jump will save your life. Very important. Another thing about this, which is very important, and this is one of the basics of DJing. A lot of people don't know it. Your counting exceeds 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Your counts exceed 8, your counts exceed 16, they exceed 32. In your head, you want to be counting up to 64, or you need to know the records by heart. And this is because, as you can see, if you zoom out of the audio, you can see it's built of segments. So actually you will see it when I skip forward 64 beats. Also when you listen to the musical phrase, it's usually not I'm gonna sing a song and repeat it. I'm gonna sing a song and repeat it. That might be the theme. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That could be the theme. But then the chord progression under it, which makes like the full piece of music, could be 16 or 32 bars. So here you can see, skipping ahead 8, you get the same segment. Skipping ahead 64 will get you in the next segment. Next segment, extra percussion. Next segment, break. This one has a little bit longer of a build up. 32, next segment. 64, next segment. 64, next segment. Actually, this break is interesting because the guitar does 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it actually repeats, as you can hear. Let me just go back to the first break, then you can hear the full theme. It's not a 4-count repeat. It's a repetition 4 times of one 4-count repeat, and then it's another repetition of higher notes. So the total, I think, is... And then again, and it's still not there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's it. So it's 8 counts of 8 beats. So 8 times 8 is 64. So the entire theme is actually 64 counts, which is a lot. So the thing what you want to have in the back of your head, you want to be counting all the time when you're listening to this music. You want to be counting 4 bars, 16 bars, 4 counts, 16 counts, 32 counts, 64 counts in the back of your head. And at one point it will become a second nature. So you will automatically hear it. And then it will become second nature for you to automatically find these places to mix in records. But yeah, getting back to that, going to the break here. That's the full phrase. So you can see. That's the phrase, that's the song. The chord progression finishes, it loops. You can save it here by making a little hot cue. Saves the loop automatically. And I think the most important thing about this is now when you play another record, and I saw a friend of mine do this, I was teaching him, and he said like, okay, I press play. Now, the problem is, you're starting a record halfway during a phrase, which means that when the other phrase is going to start, and the phrase being the theme, it's going to be halfway in the middle of this theme. So you don't start it halfway during a repetition, you start it at the end of the repetition. By the way, as you can hear, even though they're synced, they didn't line up perfectly. That's because one of these records isn't on the grid exactly. So now here's a little last minute resort. If you did not pay attention and you didn't prepare your record box properly, you have a trick for this. So now going into another trick, changing the grid while you are playing a song. This one looks perfect. This one, not perfect. Let me see, zoom in. Yeah, that's not exactly on point. Might be a little bit too late. Let's see if we sync them, if they make sense. It sounds pretty good. Let me find another record that for sure is wrong. Can I see one? Yeah, this is completely wrong. As you can tell, like right now, you can already tell because the lines are not on the kick. So if I'm going to play this record here, and then I'm going to try to sync this, it's going to sound like crap because it's going to be completely offbeat. And it's synced. So I'll show you real quick. Like, oh my god, it's not right. I'm gonna hold this button and I'm gonna move it to the kick. You can also move half notes if it detected the hi-hat as the 1 count. Now it looks better. Hey.
Take a shot. Take a shot. Take a shot.
Way better. Almost perfect.
Shot.
So that's how you can fix songs that aren't on the grid. I also didn't learn this until recently. Also, generally, I don't use sync, so for me it's not too much of a problem. But when you're DJing back to back with someone that does use sync and you have a record that's not on the grid, they will have problems. And you're gonna have a problem because no matter who you're DJing back to back with, they look at you as well. You're just as responsible. I've played, as you know, back to back with many DJs, and I've had many DJs make mistakes during the set, and I was held responsible. So keep that in the back of your head. Some other cool tricks that you can do that most people don't know. Advanced tricks. Let me see here. So say you're playing a record. This is F minor and you want to play an a cappella on top of it, which is in G. Let me see. Let me get one we can use. Yeah, here we go. This is easy. You can see already I saved it as G minor.
Take a shot.
Line it up. Missed it for it.
Take a shot.
Every nigga with me, I'm gon' ain't no stopping up. Niggas acting like they got the bank, I'm tryna stop it up. Do this for the bros down the road, gotta lock it up. All you gotta do is say smoke, then we popping up. Baby got the streets on hold, he ain't drop it. I've been going hard, it's gonna be hard for you to top it.
New in Pioneer is key shift.
Really a millionaire still in the
Take a
project.
shot.
Putting on for the city, baby he the realest. Baby probably got a couple million. Baby having 4 or 5 kilos. Baby got children, baby probably still drug dealer. Baby
G minus minus 1. G minor minus 1 is F sharp minor. Minus another one makes it F minor. This record is also F minor.
on for the city, baby he the realest. Baby probably got a couple million. Baby having 4 or 5 kilos.
So this sounds better than this.
Still drug dealer. Baby ain't the top of here rap. Baby making cash. Baby in the hood getting happy. Baby keep it real with his people. Baby like a preacher. Baby probably still selling reefer. Baby putting on for the city.
Another thing you can do with this, of course, is during the build-up. Say we have the final build-up.
Top of here rap. Baby making cash. Baby in the hood getting happy.
Baby keep it real with his people. Baby like a preacher. Baby probably still selling reefer.
So yeah, you can have a lot of fun with pitch. So let me find a different a cappella here.
Let's go take a ride in the car. I will take the passenger seat. Baby, we don't have to go far. Unless you want to show me a lovely place out of town.
So when you're doing a build-up and you're like making a tiny loop, you can do it like that. Or another thing that a lot of DJs, you hear them do, it's like instead of, and this is an interesting take, instead of making a loop that's exactly on beat, this is another pro tip, you make a loop that's off beat. So everything usually in a build-up is on beat. It's like the snares add on a 4 count or on a 1 count. It gets a little bit boring. So one thing that we like to do when we DJ, especially us old Dutch DJs, we did this a lot in the past.
Unless you want to show.
Take a shot.
That's one that we do. That's the make the loop smaller, like 1. And then the next level of that,
Unless you want to show.
make smaller. and start pitching up. Change it to wide.
Take a shot.
Yeah, sorry. But, so you make the loop smaller and then you pitch it up by putting the pitch on wide with this little button here. Turning off master tempo. I'll show you one time without music. Step 1.
Unless you wanna show.
Loop off beat. Make smaller slowly. Change pitch to 0 so you don't get any weird jumps. Change to wide. Turn off master tempo. You could do a break before. And another thing that people sometimes do, I don't like it because it kind of makes it off key. Like when they're going up, they do this. And then it resets. So you have to make sure that... Take it away. Also a way to do it. It's a matter of choice. You can do a little bit of everything. Again, these tricks are advanced tricks and they're not gonna make you a better DJ, but it's a little form of extra entertainment. So if you do one of these tricks every 10 minutes, it makes you look better. Even for me, like I make a lot of mashups, so a lot of the stuff I'm not doing live, but still I do live acapellas because making a mashup that does that, it's not the same feeling. Also, people notice when you do this, I'll show you real quick. I'm gonna do it live.
Take a shot.
Unless you wanna show.
Take a shot.
Because you can fade out the other record to give it even more attention. And then, of course, another thing that you can do is when it's going, add reverb to it. And I do this sometimes to like show off a little bit. It's very silly, but yeah, so you do these type of tricks live, people go like, oh my god, how did you do that? And I can show you, I did the same thing with a chicken soup mashup I made. It has the same effect, you know. So this is a mashup. Essentially, you will win the crowd, I think about 90% the same. But doing it live, that little 10% extra will make other DJs respect you. So when I'm playing a record and I'm going like this, okay.
Unless you wanna show.
You will get DJ respect. When you get DJ respect, they will talk good about you to promoters. Promoters have the power. They will respect your skill and it gives you a bigger chance to get booked. So I know it's a little bit much. It's a lot to do. It's a lot of tricks to learn. But learning these tricks will make you, how you say, be respected by your peers, be respected by professionals, be respected by critics, music critics, just a little bit more. Even though I have to say, I did this trick before and some music critics said like, oh yeah, he even made a mashup of Seven Nation Army. No, I did that live, bro. So not everyone will always see your skill, not everyone will always respect your skill, but a lot of people in the professional industry will see it and they will know and they will respect you. This is why no one is saying like, oh, James Hype is just some new guy. No, it's like we all know the stuff that he does. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of tricks. It's a lot of preparation. He uses a lot of hot cues. He wants to do everything manual. I say mix it up. Make sure you have some mashups so you can entertain the crowd and do some hand clapping and like, ah, hello, hello, hi, I'm me, yay, 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 yay. And also do some hard work live so they can see like, hey, this guy actually knows what he's doing. He knows every button of the CDJ. Tiny things that make big impact. So try to focus, learn these tricks, and try to force yourself every set to do one trick, maybe every 10, 15 minutes at least. It could also be smoother. Huh? I can also make like a little sweep of that, for example. Or you see the white noise that the DJM has. That is this. You can always add it.
Take a shot.
No one really hears it from the regular audience, the people that don't know what DJing is about. Well, I don't know if that's how to say it. Like, people behind the scenes know it. They recognize what you're doing. But people on the dance floor, they're not like, oh my God, look, he used the white noise generator of the DJM 900 Nexus 2 to get a little bit of extra sweep on the drop. No, they just go like, I like this song. It's amazing. Can you feel it? For the people on the dance floor, it's a feeling. For us, from a professional perspective, it's skills. So don't be afraid to add some extra skills, even if it's something as tiny as the white noise generator. And then play with the volume. Do these type of things. I know it's tiny, but you will be respected for it. Another tiny trick when you're talking about the FX generator, so let's leave the CDJs alone for a second.
Take a shot.
Let's go over the mixer. One thing I like to do when I have the microphone, instead of turning the music off completely, I like to filter it. And I like to keep the beat in the back of my mind. So when I talk, it sounds like it makes sense. On the rhythm, through the beat, to make it more funky for the people. Ah yeah, and don't say stuff on the beat because you can't hear what I'm saying. Don't talk on the beat because you cannot hear what I'm saying. So another very important trick when you use a microphone, if you use a microphone, if you feel comfortable using a microphone, filter it down when you say something. Talk a little bit over the filter. Don't do this because it's still like it doesn't filter high enough to have your voice pop out. Switching again here. We had the noise before. Another cool thing you can do with noise is when you sound check and you don't have music with you, or you're in the club and like, oh, can you make some sound? I don't have my music. No, it's okay. You can just do this. And they're like, hey, how did you do that? And then you start playing with it by using this little trance button. I still don't know what it's short for, but in any case, you can cut it up. Make it smaller. Makes you look really cool if you walk in a club and you have no music and suddenly you just start, or you start doing this. It's like rhythmically, it's impressive. So it's a fun thing to keep in the back of your mind. I've never done this during a set, but it's cool tricks to show. Like I'm sure if you're watching that and you're listening, like, oh, I didn't know you can make a beat with that. It's a cool little trick. Another thing happens a lot, dub echo. These are all replaced on the newer DJM, so you should really learn about the V12 mixer, for example. I like to use it like that, turn it off and on. Because if you leave it on, it's just gonna get messy. It's messy. Even when it's short, it's still messy. Another cool trick, of course, like now, switch from the noise to the dub echo. One thing that you have to be careful with, gear keeps getting upgraded, so go to YouTube, figure out all the new tricks. Right now, the newest DJM, I think, is the V10. It's like the 6-deck mixer. It's crazy. It has very different FX generators, everything in a different place. But for now, I'm just going to show you the 900, which is like, I think, the most used DJM that you see around the world. So like I said, the dub echo. Very simple. I don't like to keep it on because it gets very messy. Even when it's short, it's a little bit messy. So what I like to do is this. Or when I have another record running on the side, I'm gonna turn it on this one. Actually, there's too much melody in that beat, so I'm just gonna skip forward to the end and loop the final beat. It takes some time to load sometimes. You can have fun with it in that way. Another, what you can do also, you can also do it with this effect thing. Say reverb, for example. Just turn it on and you do. Filter down or filtered up. Lots of cool tricks. But yeah, dub echo, that's how I use it. Sweep, let's see what sweep does. Basically, a noise gate on one side and a reverb filter on the other side. Yeah, it's fun. It's not that special, but easy. Ah, I love this. Space Miami. So I'm just gonna use it the same way I used to do for example. Gonna have fun with it. One thing that I'd be careful with is just doing this. It gets messy very quickly. Well, bit crush, essentially the same as a filter, but it's a bit crusher. I don't use it that much, but it's like I said, when you want to show off, and you need to show off if you're beginning and you want to really build your career, you got to use everything. You have to use the crush and the noise and the dub and the space and the sweep and the filter. So try to use those things to your advantage. Some other advanced tricks on this filter or this FX side. One of the most used in techno. One of my favorites. The delay. Has a lot to do, of course, with being able to. It has a lot to do with, of course, being able to change the fader on the beat correctly. Yeah, don't get lost. Very, very dangerous to get lost with that. Basically what the delay does is only one echo. So if you turn it on, turn it on halftime. Just in case you don't want to go like... Oh, wait, sync is on, my bad. So, yeah, that's why I don't like sync. Any case, so that's the delay. So you can do cool tricks with that. You can do, like I said, you can do the fader down and turn it up and switch it around and have fun with it. Just learn it, learn these effects. Make sure you know them and practice with them a lot. Even if you have to rent this stuff or you have to take a fake DJ lesson just so you can practice with this, getting these tricks standard in your fingers will make a world of change. I've been lucky enough that I started with a DJ 500 back in the days. I think about 20, like a little bit less than 20 years ago. And I had a little gig at some small tiny club, but it got me to play with this 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. So that's how I got all these things in my finger really easily. So really get comfortable with that. Another thing with the echo I showed you before, but making it smaller manually. Martin Garrix likes that track a lot, trick. Spiral, also very much used in techno. I did that last part to get it back on the rhythm. It's a very particular filter and it doesn't really tell you exactly how it is moving along the pitch spectrum. Because when I turn it off, I don't know when it's gonna stop going down. So play around with that. The easiest one there is filter, reverb. You hear this a lot when people finish their set. Thank you. trends, again, we used it before in the white noise, you can use it on little loops, but the most important thing is when you play it on a beat, it can be very annoying on the dance floor. So I would recommend to not do it on the low frequency. I would do it only on the mid and high frequency. And do it quantized. And make sure your record is quantized properly, because else it's just gonna sound crappy. It's very dangerous. As you can hear, the record isn't quantized perfectly. So it takes some hi-hats here and there. It gets very messy. But what it is great for, again,
Unless you wanna show.
put it on the channel. Turn it on slowly. Make it smaller. Pitch it up if you want. Interesting thing is when you do that on a beat, you can get this effect. So very cool effect, but I would not use it on the beat. I would use it more on effects and stuff, or little tiny loops like that. I think Pioneer can stop making this. I've never anyone heard this, use this in my life. Filter. I never used it. Same thing with flanger. I use it sometimes, like in a build-up. It's cool to get a little bit of extra effect. Yeah, the problem with it is it restarts constantly and it adds a lot of volume to your track. So if a record is like sending out like this, you can see here on the volume, like say with 2 yellow, you add this, suddenly, because it starts repeating, it starts repeating frequencies. So it makes a volume shift, as you can see there, of about 6 decibels, which means if you're in a club and you're like, nice, 100 decibels, everything's fun. You add this thing on the subwoofer, you could blow up the speakers, or you could just make everyone nauseous at one go. So I would suggest to only use it in breaks. And be very, very, very careful with it. Pitch. Essentially the same as pitch built in the CDJ. One thing is it has a little bit of latency, so try to remember that when you do this. So yeah, there you can hear when I switch between off and on, it just slides over a little bit beat-wise. And of course, rhythm being one of the most important things in your set, I would not suggest using it unless you're using it on a cappella or something. Yeah, be careful with that. Slip roll is essentially the same as roll, but it restarts itself every time you touch a different button. So it's a more advanced version of roll, and let me show you roll first. It just takes whatever sample is the length and it just repeats it. Yeah, so you have to make sure you're exactly on grid. And people are very much familiar with this. So I would use it for a little bit of beat jumping, but don't be annoying. Like if you're doing that for an hour, like people will get annoyed with you. Like there's no music, there's just annoying tricks. But doing a little bit here and there is funny. One that I like to do that people usually don't do, I turn off the low. So the low end keeps rolling, so you still have the rhythm. One thing is it has a little bit of latency, so try to remember that when you do this. So there you can hear when I switch between off and on, it just slides over a little bit beat-wise. And of course, rhythm being one of the most important things in your set, I would not suggest using it unless you're using it on a cappella or something. Yeah, be careful with that. Slip roll is essentially the same as roll, but it restarts itself every time you touch a different button. So it's a more advanced version of roll, and let me show you roll first. It just takes whatever sample is the length and it just repeats it. So you have to make sure you're exactly on grid. And people are very much familiar with this. So I would use it for a little bit of beat jumping, but don't be annoying. Like if you're doing that for an hour, like people will get annoyed with you. Like there's no music, there's just annoying tricks. But doing a little bit here and there is funny. One that I like to do that people usually don't do, I turn off the low. So the low end keeps rolling, so you still have the rhythm. So isolated frequency is fun. But I think the most fun that I like, my favorite one is this one. Make it small.
Let's go take a ride in the car. I will take the passenger seat. Baby, we don't don't
doing
have to
triplets
go
on the manual.
far unless you wanna show.
That's why I like to keep the bass rolling, so you still have a sense of rhythm. Slip roll way faster. And that's the main thing. Another one that's fun.
Meet a lovely place out of town.
As you want, a vinyl break.
Where you-
Again,
where
these
you-
are
where
funny
you
things
feel
and you can play with them and you can use them in your set. But I would be very careful not to overdo it. Stay focused, make sure you have great music, and then use one trick maximum per record. What I like to do is say you have this big build up. Give them a nice acapella that everyone knows from my set. Like Take Over Control. Normally I wouldn't do it that loud, but I just want you to hear it. For example. So you can combine all these tricks into each other, have a lot of fun with it. Of course, you should already be familiar with the break function, final speed adjustment on the CDJ. And that's what I just did on the loop over there. And then all the other effects, I'm pretty sure I showed you. Hot cues, very important when you're using acapellas. The only thing I'm going to tell you about hot cues, very tiny thing. Put them around here and there. Very important with the hot cue, especially if you want to do that trigger thing that I just did. It needs to be on the sound. If it's not on the sound, you're gonna have this. If it's closer, so I'm gonna delete this one, I'm gonna put it exactly here. So now it's exactly on point, and now you can really go on the rhythm when you're playing something. Another thing I want to say, don't quantize when you're doing these hot cue things on acapella, because unless your aim is perfectly adjusted to quantize, the quantize might mess it up a little bit. It might miss some of the cues, so be very careful with that. Turn off the reverb. Then you can actually bring in the beat. Wait, I don't know how to do that though with the pitch. Yeah, go back up. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, you need 3 hands for that. This is why I don't like sync, guys. So yeah, you could even bring in the beat, reset this beat to the right tempo. So you have this. Bring in the build up. You can have fun with it, play around with it, but I do have to say, these type of tricks, they're always on the verge of being just really annoying for people in the club. Because you have to take account how loud is the sound, is it not too loud over the beat, is it not too far in the background, is the key exactly right? So I would suggest maybe do this close to the end or when you're drunk or when you're having fun and everyone doesn't care. But if you're gonna work this in your mix, do a lot of preparation, try to remember the percentages for the key and try to have a plan, have a game plan. Don't just do like randomly like, oh.
Take a shot.
It sounds terrible if it's not in key exactly. So know which loop you're gonna take or just make a mashup, up to you. I definitely do say that this track of when you are at the end of your set, you're like, you guys were amazing, thank you. Goodbye, thank you, goodbye. It's a cool trick to do. Only tiny advice I'm gonna give you, as you just heard, the loop was so small it went right before the kick and it got super silent. So what I usually do is instead of making the loop the smallest possible, I leave a little bit. Oops, sorry. Add some filter. Tricks and tricks and tricks. Like I said, my favorite is to keep it open a little bit so it has a little bit more structure and texture.